Hello and welcome to Wake Up Our Faith. This is the show where passion, purpose, and dreaming big challenge common sense. We like to think of it as a conversation to shed light on the upside of upside down living. Matt Ham, Kevin Adams, we're the co-founders of YouPrint, a faith and personal development organization right here in the great port city of Wilmington, North Carolina. Coming to you live this wonderful Wednesday. Kevs.
Hey.
Happy day. Check out this picture on my computer there. Can you see that? It's a really fat bulldog. I don't know what it's about. It's just funny looking.
It's like a pack of hot dogs or something. It's all
funny.
Wrinkly.
That was funny, man.
Hang straight is funny, man.
Really funny. Guys, appreciate you jumping on today. We are live streaming on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. We will be live on The Big Talker every Sunday from 12 p.m. to 2 p.m. Appreciate you jumping on. We want to thank our corporate partners for making this show possible. One of those being Dr. Greg Veman at Seacoast Skin Surgery. Dr. Greg Veman has a ministry as well, Everlasting Strength. That is everlastingstrength.org on the web. You can give him a call as well at 910-256-2100. Many thanks to Dr. Veman and his team. Kev, what have we on today?
Well,
hey, Nick, we still have the music, sorry.
Yeah. we need, it's all right. A little extra music's okay. Can you turn me up a little bit? I can't really hear myself.
Little volume.
There we go. Whoa.
Is that feeling good?
Yeah, it feels powerful, man.
Good deal.
Like the Wizard of Oz.
There we go.
Yeah, well, we've got, we've been talking about the idea of getting past go and what that looks like. Use that terminology because being a Christian, there's a spectrum to it. It's not just in or out kind of thing. I mean, so it's not just about heaven or not.
Right.
It's what your whole life's about if you're in. And so there's a lot of work to do here while you're here. So getting past go is just getting past the basic thing that most people consider Christianity.
Sure.
So we've been talking about that over and over again for the last 3 or 4 shows. Today we're going to talk about, in the first hour at least, this trying to untangle the confusion between dreams, vision, purpose, gifts, talent, all that kind of stuff gets kind of thrown together.
Right.
Calling. So we'll talk about that.
No, it's a huge topic, and I love this trajectory that we're on here for our listeners. You can go back on our podcast and listen to the previous shows from the weeks before or our YouTube channel. This idea of getting past go, Kevin, is so essential. We used a Monopoly board as a picture. That's a kind of picture God gave you. And
yeah.
I love that because we think that, okay, well, I go to church, and I'm there,
yeah.
but there's an entire board, to
That's
go
right.
around. And so it's just an awesome picture to create because like you said, it's not about, and we've said this before on the show, it's not about getting us into heaven, it's about getting heaven into us.
Exactly.
And what does that look like? Now, today you mentioned we're going to step into the difference between dreams, vision, passion, gifts, and all these words that get tossed around. A lot of times I don't even feel like these words are talked about at church. Much less, something that we value highly. It's like, oh, be careful because your dreams, you don't want your dreams. I think that there's an automatic thing to start off with and say that dreams are absolutely good.
Yeah.
Having a vision is absolutely necessary for your life. And so I want our listeners to hear that. And so, I'm this is going to be fun, man. So let's get rolling.
Yeah. Well, when you... sometimes I guess a dream is bad pizza or something, bad chicken.
It can be weird.
A friend that left a Chick-fil-A sandwich on his dash.
Have mayonnaise on it?
No, I don't think so.
It's gross.
He left it on his dash, and the next day comes back, and I think it was probably March or April. It wasn't summer. But he comes back and just... it microwaves it or something and thinks it's okay to eat.
That's so gross.
he's sick for like 3 or 4 days.
Of
bad
course.
sick, bathtub sick.
Oh, Lord. Yeah, don't do that.
Yeah. So, a dream or an illusion or some
Right.
crazy stuff from the pit of hell can happen from that.
Yeah, that's not what we're talking about.
Now, we're talking about the thing that God put in you. And it's more it's more about His intention for your life, and how that unfolds. And we're kind of like an onion in a sense. God kind of peels back the layers and gets to the good stuff. And but your dream is there already. It's in you, and you kind of have to search that out. So there's a lot of things about understanding what a dream is. I'm not talking about like a prophetic dream, or I'm talking about the thing you're meant to focus on, and the thing that gives you joy, and seeing it unfold is incredibly rewarding. So, but looking at that, what that is, and how these things connect, these different terminologies, what is vision, purpose, a lot of people just kind of lump that all together, and kind of Christianese, I guess.
Yeah. So where do we begin to kind of break this down? Where do you want to start with helping somebody that's listening, that's tuned in here, to begin to step into that as a part of their faith journey? Yeah.
Well, I've got a lot of times what I do is I bring in some of our teaching material, and we've just got so much stuff and notes and all kind of stuff. But so rather than having a big discussion, I think just kind of walking through the importance. Where does this begin? I guess that's your question. Mm-hmm. And we call it the trajectory. So in other words, if you fire the cannon at the enemy, you got to get that thing aimed just right. You're not going to aim it directly at them. You're going to point it up because there's a curve to it. So everything's like that with God, with Hebraic thinking. It's parabolic, right? So I get off in left field with that. But everything has a trajectory. Everything has a shot and a landing spot. And I'm not a physicist, but that's that's pretty basic. So you have to shoot from the right place. So the beginning matters. And the very first thing that we've got to look at is, and try to understand, is that everybody has a dream. Everybody has something that's been put inside them. It has intention. And so what is a dream? It's well, I'm going to get to that, but if you just step into that thing that never goes away, maybe that's the best way to talk about it.
Okay.
There's something in you, mm-hmm. and me, and different folks that even from a childhood, it never goes away. It may come at you from different angles, but then it reveals itself over and over. So one of the ways to understand what a dream is to begin to see that consistent thing. Now, I'm not talking about a stronghold or some weird behavior. I'm talking about that thing that just works for you. There's joy in it, and there's more to it. You don't quite know what it is, but you're stepping into it. But it always seems to come back over and over. So for you, for example, I'll just throw this out there, and then you can speak to it. I know that you have the heart of an evangelist. God put that in you because He wants you in front of people to communicate to audiences. Everybody wants to be known and seen, and that's just human nature. But we're talking about, set aside from that, you have a desire to step into that arena and deliver something that God's put on your heart. That is a part of your dream. Mm-hmm. So but you can see it, right? You can close your eyes and go there. I mean, you go ahead and speak to that. But that's a starting point to know what that is.
Yeah, it's weird. I mean, for me, I remember as a young kid, I was probably 3 or 4 years old. I don't remember this. My parents told me is that we were down at Wrightsville Beach, and the local radio station, which I remember this, it was B100 back in the day. All right. B100 was just a local station, Uh-huh. And I remember they were having like this Best Body on the Beach thing. And as like a 4-year-old, I just ran right up to the front and was like, let me jump in,
uh-huh.
But I certainly did not have the best body, but I just had this thing where I was just like, I want to do this and just bring this kind of like life and joy and all that
Sure.
kind of stuff, right? So
Yeah.
as you grow up, though, you start to think, well, maybe there's something wrong with me. Maybe this is about needing attention, and maybe this is about approval or whatnot. But then, I get voted most school spirited in my high school superlative thing. So it's just again and again and again, there's this thing in me that just wants to share goodness and joy with people.
Yeah.
And when you see it over and over again, you have to tap into it.
Yeah, it's it doesn't matter who you are or the way it manifests itself. What matters is that you're paying attention to it. In other words, think about a lot of people could give a crap about the Beatles, but there's something really, aside from being prolific songwriters. I mean, Lennon and McCartney are it. They're top of the heap, no matter what, for all time, the greatest duo. But we're getting short on time.
We are.
But we'll come back and talk about that a little bit in terms of dreams. And,
Yeah. Because the Beatles are a fantastic example. So that's going to jog my memory. We're going to come back to that after the break. Guys, you are listening to and watching Wake Up Our Faith. Matt Ham, Kevin Adams. We'll be back for more right after this. Hello, and welcome back to Wake Up Our Faith, the show where passion, purpose, and dreaming big challenge common sense. We like to think of it as a conversation to shed light on the upside of upside-down living. Matt Ham and Kevin Adams live here from Wilmington's Big Talker. Got Nick Craig in the studio producing the show. As always, we want to recognize and thank our corporate partners for making this show possible. One of those being Freeman Landscaping, largest privately owned land and irrigation firm in Eastern North Carolina. Family owned and operated since 1992, both residential and commercial landscaping, give them a call, 910-796-1166. Kev, today on this first day of spring, as Nick just kindly let us know during the break, we are ushering in this topic of dreaming big, living out our dreams. And before we went to break, you brought up the Beatles, so carry on with it.
The Beatles, yeah. Turn left at Greenland.
Good. Yours is much better than mine.
Well, look, everybody's got a dream in them, and that's why we jump from Matt to the Beatles. It's kind of a lump sum there. The point is that when you step into that thing that's nagging. So if we take how they formed, what you have is, and there's countless examples, right? We could just go on and on and on in all kinds of industries and areas of life. Michael Jordan, et cetera. But interestingly, God uses someone else's dream to connect to another dream, and that becomes a part of something bigger. So when I use a group to show, we could pick Elvis or whatever, but you use a group to show how God uses that to work together, and it's just fascinating because when you get the right group of people together, kind of. It's sort of like the church. I mean, it works. It just works. And those who are not meant to be in that group, it doesn't click and things change. All right, so that's why I use a rock and roll group. The Beatles were really at the right place at the right time, but they stepped into it. So a lot of people say that. So what I'm getting at here is there was something nagging in John Lennon, something nagging in Paul McCartney, especially these guys. I mean, we could talk about the other two, but these guys did something together that they were both dreaming about, and God brought it together. It's amazing how it works. And so timing, everything, when you think about that dream, remember, God's got everything down to geography, people, influences, all the variables, timing, just it all comes together. So that's how important it is for you to step in and spend time pressing into that thing that doesn't go away. It doesn't. There's a lot of people who are maybe misaligned, or because of that they're coming from a place of stronghold or people's opinion. You got Simon Cowell on American Idol saying you need to go home and not pursue this. And so we're not talking about that. We're talking about that thing in you that just works, and that you step into gently. But the key here is it doesn't go away. It continues to come back over and over. So that's the dream idea.
So the person that's out there kind of watching and listening here, and they're thinking in their own life, like, what's my dream?
Yeah.
You would tell them to check the thing that won't go away.
Yes.
Like, so what's the thing in your life that won't go away?
Right. And we're not talking about a hobby. We're talking about something that can manifest itself in a variety of ways. But it is the underlying thing. And it's just continues. God continues to open doors for you and kind of nudge you through them. So and it takes a lot of preparation, et cetera. So I don't want to wrap everything up in the word dream. We've got a lot more to talk about, and we can do it over several shows. But big thing is there's a trajectory. Just having some quiet time to step into that dream, to pursue that a little bit, to visit your future, so to speak. Before it happens. We're sitting at a table. Well, this table is a solid, tangible object, but this table was an idea before it was ever a table. You see, so that's the order of things. And long after this table's gone, it will still be an idea. So spirit is greater than material, and it's eternal. So that idea that's in there, that thing, that is so important for us to just gently practice and spend time on. So when you're thinking about speaking to large audiences, you are spending time daily, weekly, whatever, go in there in your mind, you're dreaming about it and feeling the joy. That's important.
Yeah.
That's being obedient to what God put in you. A lot of people don't like that. I don't care.
Mm-hmm.
It's just real. I've seen it over and over and over and over.
So for the person out there, I think would it be fair to say that this trajectory of getting past go in your faith life, in your Christian life, whatever you want to call it, begins with tapping into your dream?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it's simple. It's not some big Bible study. It's not, all these heavy things. Of course, you want to spend time in the Word, and everything we teach is built on that foundation. So that's part of your, daily time with the Lord. But in your quiet time, your meditation time, on top of that, spend some time on your dream. But that's how you kind of define it. That's how we kind of define it in our teaching. All right, so let's move through this list a little bit further and keep me up on time here. So the way I've got this listed out is the trajectory, sort of what does it mean? So dreaming big, that's the first step. Dreaming big reveals personal vision. So by dreaming, God shows you a picture. By you stepping in, he'll show you more. And the more you do it, the more he'll show you. Now, it may take time, and it may come this side or that side, or it may come through different occurrences, but he always shows you when you step in. All right, so that's the important part. The obedience is to step into that place. It's like visiting a room and seeing God decorate it while you're there.
Mm-hmm.
And but dreaming big reveals vision. So you don't start with a big vision. You start with an inkling. That's the dream.
The idea, the dream.
Yeah. The fulfillment of dream, the bigger picture is vision. So you have a vision. We teach, you have to have a vision for what will have mattered about your life in 1,000 years, and then how to live it out 1,000 seconds at a time, which is just a few minutes, But anyway, so dreaming big reveals personal vision. So you have to press into your dream. You have to go further. Dreaming big, this is not stress, and it's not overhyping who you are. It's just pressing in gently, but continue to do that. But that is what reveals personal vision. And then I'll get this last part out. We can talk about it. And then vision is a picture of purpose. So you got dream, vision, purpose. They're different, but they're connected, and they're part of a trajectory.
Dream bursts the vision, vision reveals purpose, or dream reveals vision.
Dreaming big reveals personal vision. Not just dreaming, but pressing in.
Mm-hmm.
Dreaming big reveals personal vision. Now, there's a bigger vision, God's vision. Your slice of that pie is personal vision. So dreaming big reveals personal vision. Vision is a picture of purpose.
Picture of purpose.
Yeah.
So do you see vision, Kev, as a kind of do you see that as the tangible place, like the picture of what it looks like? So if the dream, again, how do you break that down? How would you, as Kevin Adams, distinguish between your dream and your vision?
Well, I think just recognizing a dream is to recognize that you have an inkling, a thing in you that is just a splinter, and it's something that doesn't go away. It keeps coming back. For me, it's we can label it all kind of ways, but it's one-on-one teaching, mentoring, discipling, and I had to go through a lot of mentoring myself by God, and just all kinds of life experiences. And I'm almost 53 years old, and just now being able to do this, full time. So, but that's always been there. And I didn't know what that was when I was a kid, and neither was I prepared for it. So when you look back, you can see it. But the thing that I never did was I never allowed myself to get caught up in something that would completely steal that away from me. And even at the point where I almost did, where I had wealth and success and all these things, God allowed me to. Well, I lost everything.
Yeah.
And then God is rebuilding it the right way.
Mm.
So this is his goal.
Yeah. Well, that's man. I'm going to come back to that here, guys. We're going to take a short break. Matt Ham, Kevin Adams, Wake Up Our Faith. Back right after this. Hello, and welcome back to Wake Up Our Faith, the show where passion, purpose, and dreaming big challenge common sense. We like to think of it as a conversation to shed light on the upside of upside down living. Matt Ham, Kevin Adams with you live here at Standard Glass Studios at Wilmington's Big Talker, 106.7 FM WFBT. Big Talker celebrating 2-year anniversary today, right, Nick? That's awesome, man. It's awesome. It's been great to be a part of this. We certainly appreciate the Big Talker and their daily lineup here. We look forward to being a part of their weekend lineup, airing every Sunday from 12 p.m. to 2 p.m. I want to thank our corporate partners for making this show possible, one of those being Melissa the Coach. Melissa is a speaker and personal finance coach who helps people live intentionally by teaching them how to manage money the way God intended. You can check her out all over social media and online. Melissa the Coach is her hashtag, or her, how you can find her on Instagram, so forth. Melissa the Coach at gmail.com is the email, or you can call her, 910-338-9612. So Kev, when we come into each show, we say the show where passion, purpose, and dreaming big challenge common sense. Mm-hmm. Today we're actually breaking that down a little bit. Yeah, we're breaking down, dreaming mm-hmm. big. What is that about? And we've talked about dreaming big, revealing personal vision. Mm-hmm. Before we went to the break, you were sharing part of your own story and your own dream of this one-to-one kind of mentoring, discipleship, whatever you want to call it. Right. But for years you were chasing money. You were chasing wealth. You were chasing this other thing. Sure. And you're kind of setting your dream on the side. Mm-hmm. And then you went through this incredible 10-year journey of losing all of that. Yeah. Now to have your dream rediscovered, it's just beautiful, man.
I didn't just chase it. I got it. Yeah. And so there's not everybody grabs hold of it. I had the pleasure and benefit of discovering that the gravity of comfort is mediocrity. Mm. So think about that. You just fall asleep in that. Faith sleeps in the comfort of your own understanding. That is something that it's even more difficult to overcome than just chasing and striving after something if you never get it. Sure. So I want to make that distinction.
You had it.
Yeah, and it's not, look at me. It's about understanding the place where you are. It's harder to leave comfort than it is to stop striving over comfort. Mm-hmm. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. It's harder because we just fall asleep in it. So I'd gotten to that place. Now, backing off of that, ever since I was a kid, I always had that thing, and it manifested itself in a bunch of different ways. It's the same with you, and wanting to, be the cool kid on the beach or what have you, right? So you have to learn how to understand what that means to you. Now, if you've got, parents that get that, they can foster that. And that's one of the big things we talked about earlier is not on the show, but just you and I about parenting. One of the biggest things we can do for our kid, maybe the biggest, especially a father, is to help establish identity and help steer those things. So anyway, it's just so much to talk about, but so that thing never went away. That being one-on-one, just always being there and having some understanding about a problem and what was going on. And, so setting that aside, yes, I went after what made sense. And for me, it was a lot easier to go through a sales career. If you want to go to school for 12 years and you got that kind of mind, be a doctor. Well, I made the same kind of money or more than a doctor, and I could do it by just being nice to people, right? Right. The feeling, and it's genuine, but it's the path of some of us. But then what I learned was business and how it worked, and it's a bigger animal than selling. But I learned all that, and then I thought, okay, this is my path. So God allowed me to go through so many different things that weren't right to understand how to become someone who has the wisdom to have walked through the maze and banged his head on every door. You see, so you start seeing this big old thing, and it's like, wow. You when you first met me, you said, man, you got this big old bag of tricks. And you meant it affectionately, but yeah, there really is that. But if I hadn't recognized that, I would still be doing what everybody else wanted me to do. When I lost everything, it was, hey, get 3 jobs, you can rebuild it. Like Steve Austin, a $6 million man. We can rebuild it. No, God says, stop all that.
Mm-hmm.
It's time now. So I finally listened, but it took all that to get me not only to listen, but to have clarity about it and then be able to use it.
Sure.
So there's a lot to it. I could talk for hours about it. But the point is that inkling, that thing that you feel and I feel, and everybody, if they're really paying attention, it's a splinter. It's a thing that comes back, and it's something that, you just can't get away from.
Sure.
A lot of people squash it, and that's really sad. But anyway, so dreaming big reveals personal vision. You get a bigger picture, and you start seeing how it connects. But vision is a picture of purpose, and so we can take off from that point.
Sure.
Because everybody loves the word purpose.
Yeah, we talk about it all the time.
Yeah.
What is it?
Yeah, it's a purple purpose.
Porpoise?
Porpoise.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it's a weird word. Purpose.
Well, and it's so overused in culture today.
It
and
is.
finding purpose. I'll never forget. One of my favorite songs in college was Vertical Horizon. It was a group, and they had an acoustic song from way back in the day called "Trying to Find Purpose." And I played that over and over in college. I mean, you never really think about what it actually means,
Mm-hmm.
and I think that's something helpful. So, Kevin, for our listeners today, how do we as an organization at UPrent, how do we define purpose?
Well, okay. So this is why we need discipleship. It needs to be. It's time consuming. It's slow. You have to chew on things and walk with people. So this isn't something we can cram into a quick formula and monetize it. That's why we don't do that. It's very organic, but there are steps and structure and trajectory. So think of purpose this way. Again, you have to keep backing out of this. It starts with just dreaming, but you got to press in, dream big, go a little bigger. And that begins to reveal the vision. Vision is a picture of purpose. All right. So I know it makes sense to you, but I'm just going to ask it. Does that make sense?
Yes.
From an audience advocate point of view, does that make sense? All right. So if it does, let's define purpose, which is your question. Purpose is simply this. It is the problem we've been designed to solve. There is a problem. There's something going on, and we are designed to solve it. That's the simplest definition.
Yeah, no, I love it, and that's I know that that's kind of we were leading into that because that's what people I think need to hear is that there's a problem.
Yes,
that God puts you on the earth to solve.
That's right.
I mean, that's inspiring. That's just like I've never thought about it that way.
Mm-hmm.
And this past week, we had the opportunity to facilitate a leadership workshop up in Jacksonville. And it was 100 high school kids, and I had the pleasure of navigating with these kids.
Yeah.
And the
You're
language,
doing your thing.
Yeah. The language I used was similar to this, and except instead of purpose, the problem you just designed to solve, it was more of the genius in you can in fact change the world if you're courageous enough to step into it.
Right.
And man, you could just see these kids' faces lighting up. They're like, yes, this is what I believe.
Yeah.
But I've never heard it in this way that gives me the capacity to go, yes, I want to step into it. And so I think people need to understand and know, no matter where you are listening from today, no matter where you come to us from, is that there's a problem that you were intended to solve.
Yeah.
That's powerful.
Yeah, and it matters. I mean, think about this. God, you are His greatest investment. Think that through for a second, and we've got to get away from comparing and all that. This is what we teach, and it's just true. Everybody, this isn't millennial. You're amazing. No, you're amazing. No, you're amazing. No, not that. Everything feels, or it's not. Hey, back in the '80s where it's just about hard work and logic and get it done, and this is Jesus. This is this idea that God paid everything for us. And when you really grab hold of that, then you see that you're priceless. It doesn't mean that you don't need discipline and preparation. So every heavenly calling has an earthly preparation season.
Mm.
Now, so the old days, heavenly calling, all right, what's that? And then sort of, some of the young folks today is everything's, just about they don't want to go through the preparation is what I'm getting at. So, but they work together the same way the Word and the Spirit are married together. They work together. So all that said, we have a thing that we're designed by God in this time with all the circumstances and variables to solve. And if we step in, it will happen. And it's amazing and very rewarding.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Guys, wake up our faith. We're back right after this. Hello, and welcome back to Wake Up Our Faith. This is the show where passion, purpose, and dreaming big challenge common sense. We like to think of it as a conversation to shed light on the upside of upside down living. Matt Ham, Kevin Adams with you every single week here on the show. Appreciate you tuning in and love hearing from you guys. Feel free to connect with us, info@uprint.life. You can connect with us on the web, uprint.life. That's youprint.life. We want to recognize our corporate partners for making this show possible. One of those being Chris Hutchins of Guaranteed Rate Mortgage. Chris and his team off the Military Cutoff have more than 20 years of experience in the mortgage business. Whether you're buying a home or refinancing, make sure you give Chris and his team a call, 910-344-0304. Also want to recognize and thank Century 21 Swalyer and Associates. More than 30 years of experience here in southeastern North Carolina in the real estate business. These guys are fantastic. You can give them a call, 910-256-0021. And a special thanks to Century 21 Swalyer of Jacksonville for being our sponsor and partner for this recent leadership event. Just super cool of them. I got to stop and spend some time with Shirley Morrison up there, who heads up that office.
Yeah. Well, maybe mention that again as far as, let's take a couple minutes and talk about some other areas that God's opening up for us, and in particular for you as a leader to teach leadership to young folks. Just talk about that event again.
Yeah, it was awesome. So the Rotary Club of Onslow County gathers 100 high school students that are nominated by their teachers and by their counselors as having a proclivity, if you will, towards leadership.
Yeah.
And then they hired us to come in and actually facilitate a workshop, spend 2.5 hours with these kids talking through leadership.
Yeah.
Now, we've had a previous show on this. You can go back on the podcast and listen to it, but it's this kind of 5-point path, what we call the narrow path of leadership.
Yeah.
So it's courage, integrity, vulnerability, empathy, and humility.
Yeah.
And,
right.
It was really powerful, Kev, because a lot of the kids came up to me afterward. I was just so amazed at how hungry these young kids were for this fresh approach to leadership. And I had one kid come up to me and he goes, Matt, I go to a lot of these leadership conferences. And he said, it's people just saying, hey, man, be a leader and be a leader and be a leader. Yeah. And kind of, go volunteer in the community and be a leader. And he said, this was a practical way that I could start understanding how to engage with my peers and students at my school.
Yeah.
And he said it was really, really powerful. So just fantastic feedback. But what it ignited in me was this thing that we can now do is to replicate this because that next generation desperately need leadership. Businesses want to invest in the communities. And so we're actively working on putting together kind of a package to take this leadership workshop into the communities in Eastern North Carolina and beyond.
Right. Yeah. It's but I think it's a great thing, and it's just one of those things that worked for us. It's an open door, and it reaches right at go with young people, and they desperately need truth. They don't need to be beat over the head. They need to be nurtured, but they need discipline, structure, and they need people who have authority, who understand who God is, to step in and encourage and boost their identity. People need that. It's like saying every kid needs a dad. We need both. We need both parents, but that's a big part of what we do. So, but that interestingly taps back into this idea, that God opens different doors a lot of times, but if we understand that splinter, then it doesn't matter what environment it happens in. It means that God's doing something. So you're going to be looking at doing a pretty big deal in a few months in Chicago, and we can talk about that another time. But a lot of people will see that. So adults, but these are kids, right? So or either over here at the other place where there's a few people in a church building, what you're doing is you're not looking at the forest. I mean, you're just moving forward. You're stepping in. You're planting seeds. You're moving. So God opened that up for us, and it's very powerful. And these kids haven't heard this before. So this is something where I'm trying to draw an example of that dream. It begins to reveal personal vision. That vision is part of our vision, which is part of His vision. And then, but it's a problem, that vision, purpose. It's a picture of purpose in that. And this is very wordy. You have to forgive me. But there's so much to it. So, but that ultimately boils down to what we were talking about a minute ago, and that is a problem that each of us are designed to solve. So we see it right there, and it felt great. It felt really good for you personally. It feels good for me as your partner, and as a co-owner and leader of a company, to see the value of this reach right into the heart of young people.
Yeah,
that's powerful. That's why it's important to dream big, to start,
Mm-hmm.
and then let go of the how. Okay, so anyway, that's a nice picture, though.
Yeah, I think a key thing here that I just want to add to this, Kev, that ties in is that, for me, having to let go of exactly how it manifests itself.
Yeah.
So often I was like, well, it's got to look this way. It's got to, it has to fit in here.
Right.
When you're willing to lay it down and surrender, you get to step into the doors that God opens.
Yeah.
And that's always beautiful because you never realize, like, oh my gosh, this works.
Yeah. Yeah. Like this thing where, I always call it this, we try to take it, we'll never get it. We let go of it, God will give it. It's like trying to get a rusty bicycle. And God's saying, you can strive all you want for that. Maybe you'll get one. But I got a Harley, brand new Harley, and I'm not a biker, but I just think that's the picture he gave me.
Rusty tricycle, big Harley.
Yeah, I mean, you're going to trip over $1 to get to a penny. Kind of ridiculous. Either you believe or you don't. If you do, what does it all mean? So you can build off of that. But that was a great example within our company from start to finish, all the way to you in particular being used to solve a problem. And the response was good. So anyway, that we're talking about the getting past go and the trajectory of what all these things mean. So we've got one more little component we can touch on.
Sure.
There's so much to this, and I can go on and on.
Well, you've hit the first 4 points of like 30 on this sheet here. So I want people to understand how deep and wide and beautiful this is.
Yeah. Well, and I think a lot of times people are confused by these different things. And so we're just trying to add some clarity and just break it down and pack it a little bit just for, the brevity of our time on air. But anyway, so that purpose, it's always God's purpose. We tend to call it our purpose. It is, but it's really His purpose that we've been created to step into. We call it becoming His expression on earth. There's a lot of interesting terms that we use that set us apart. But purpose, everybody does have that in them because God is very intentional. He didn't make us by accident. He's not silent by accident. He does things on purpose and productively. So our greatest form of obedience is to dig through this and to uncover it and to work through that. So when you look at purpose, being that it's a problem that we've been designed to solve, and it's just a very simple definition. So then you say, well, what is the solution? How do I do it? Well, again, you let go because the solution, or what you used to solve, the solution flows from our gifts, our gift set. And so we can talk about that, and we can come back to this on another show, but think about that. Your gifts, that's where the solution comes from. You don't have to figure it out. It'll just happen.
It's there.
Yeah. And, then to kind of put a bow on it, which we can dig in later, but your gifts, now this is just the cherry on top. Your gifts are wrapped in the desires of your heart. So if you want it, people say all the time, well, I don't really know what my gifts are. They start out, I don't want to know what my dream is. I don't want to know what my purpose is, my vision. I don't know what I'm here to solve. They just go down this litany of things of what they aren't and can't. And it's like, just stop all that. Quit owning all that and get back to ground zero and build it off the Word. Spend time with God. Start to dream. It'll all start to unfold. Now, it's really good if you got a coach with you to walk you through it. But
before we just have the 30 seconds.
Yeah, go ahead.
I just wanted to make sure that people know that this is what we do. That you mentioned to have a coach.
Right.
Like, this is what we are offering people.
Yes.
Like, apply this to your own life, uncover your own dream, walk through this entire process with you. I just want you to know that's what we do.
Yes.
And we want to invite you guys into that process.
Yeah, it's very powerful and it's very fruitful. We see the success is just continuing. But anyway, so we can come back and work through this again, but hopefully that's enough for folks to chew on.
Yeah, it definitely is. Guys, connect with us at uprint.life or at wakeupmyfaith.com. Matt Ham and Kevin Adams wrapping up today's first hour, back with Faith in Business right after this. Hello and welcome to Wake Up Our Faith in Business. This is the show dedicated to helping you live out your faith between Sundays. That's where you spend most of your time, and for most folks, that is in business. Matt Ham, Kevin Adams, we're the co-founders of Uprint, Faith and Personal Development Organization. Just want to let you guys know, thanks for tuning in, whether you're listening to us on the podcast, live on Wilmington's Big Talker, 106.7 FM, one of the streaming services, or on our Facebook, YouTube, or Twitter page. We're kind of everywhere, Kev. I love this.
Yeah.
It's like great distribution.
Yeah,
So
it is.
It's fantastic. So appreciate you guys tuning in. I want to let you guys know we have a variety of resources to help you actually live this out, whether that be our portable faith community, kind of daily encouragement, one-to-one mentoring. As we mentioned in the last hour, we have these workshops that we do in businesses. There's just so much cool stuff going on. But this broadcast is really about putting some ideas in front of you, kind of inviting you into the conversation. The show is made possible by our corporate partners, one of those being Physical Therapy Services of Wilmington, on the web at ptservicesofwilmington.com, serving southeastern North Carolina since 1983, family-owned and operated with offices on 17th Street and at Porter's Neck. Give them a call, 910-763-8286. Many thanks to PT Services of Wilmington. So, Kev, we've been doing the Faith in Business second hour segment now for a couple of months.
Yeah.
And it's good. We have great interviews, great content. And today we're going to kind of unpack some powerful questions and just really help people understand what this dynamic of living out faith looks like in your business.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, what we try to do as a transition point is to take what faith is in all areas through life experience, et cetera, and take it out of Sunday and then carry it tangibly into from the ground up to where we spend the most time. And for most people, that is some form of business because people work and there's commerce, et cetera, even if you're a dog walker or a babysitter. So the idea is most people aren't sitting around watching TV all day during the week. I mean, maybe some are.
Right.
And maybe some need to, right?
Sure.
You need to rest sometimes. But most people are in the environment of Monday through Friday going somewhere, trading goods and services, resources for income. So that is what this is. It's not just an entrepreneurial thing. It's how you spend your time where. So in business, we've got to live out our faith there because God didn't make some distinction and put up walls between business and your personal life. It's all part of the same.
Not segregated.
It's not segregated.
We segregate it.
Yeah,
unfortunately.
That's right. I mean, you can't please God without faith. You can't please Him without faith. That means everywhere. That means in business. Right. It's still true, right?
Absolutely.
So that's the context, and we just come back and reiterate that. But anyway, today we didn't really have a big agenda. We continue to schedule interviews and different things with local folks, but we just part of when we meet with people, we have a lot of vetting type questions, and so I just brought those along today, and we have those to maybe really what it's sort of a self-guided reflective tool to help people go, oh, this is something I never thought about, and so I guess the point is it's about setting the right frame of mind from moment one.
Sure.
So if Sunday's over, rah, 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 you had your chicken, you watched the telly, and sports or whatever you did. Sunday, Monday's here. You're going back into the world. And so from moment one, you got to have the right frame of mind.
Mm.
So that's what this is about this hour. And then we've got some different questions to play around with and toss them out there just for fun.
Yeah, no, I love it. And, it's I don't know where you want to start. I just, my eyes navigated here looking at these questions to this.
It's all fair game, man.
Yeah, so the first thing that jumps off the page to me is the second question in this list here, and it's, what's the world's definition of success? And I love it because people go, well, they start squirming a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
It's like this past week I was with this leadership group, and I asked them, I said, how many people believe that leadership is about success and money? And nobody would raise their hand. And there's like one dude, and I go, well, at least you got one honest person, because I know every single one of you has something, because that's why you follow famous people.
Right.
That's why you look up to these iconic. That's why you get nervous if whoever the popular rapper would walk into the room right now.
Right.
You'd freak out.
Sure.
Because by the world's definition, he's famous, he's rich, whatever, and you see that as successful.
Yeah.
So I love that question.
Yeah. That is a good question. Let's talk about. So the question is it's meant to help you think a little bit. Now that's a very simple one. The very first question is, and we can lead back in, why am I still here after salvation? So we're talking to Christians here.
Sure.
I'll throw that caveat in. You get the oddball comment. I used to get them on Twitter all the time. People, atheists, just, trying to lampoon what I'm saying. I'm like, why are you even here? Who cares? You're not going to change my opinion. Anyway, why am I still here after salvation? That's a question that a lot of people don't ask.
Mm.
And so to understand what that looks like, you have to recognize who God is to you. And when you start to go there, then you'll start seeing who you are to him. And it starts to work together. Father, son, father, daughter, etc. That begins to add value. Then you can start working from there all the way out through the desires of your heart. So why am I still here? Not why am I here? Everybody asks that. But why, as a Christian, are you still here? Because if it's just about getting saved, let's go home.
Mm-hmm.
What the heck? Let's go eat hot dogs on the beach in heaven. But that God doesn't, that's not the way it is for most people. We've got a lifetime to live, whatever that looks like.
Yeah. I think that there's this weird unspoken, it's probably spoken thing in Christian culture where there's some level of guilt for people that work like whatever we call a normal job, a day job, and it's like, well, I'm not in ministry, so therefore I missed the boat somehow, and I just got to go do this over here.
Yeah.
So I think that there's a conceptual misunderstanding of what the role that our actual between Sunday lives plays in the kingdom.
Yeah.
And so, this whole, and you can tie it into what we talked about, the dreams versus, the day job, dream job, whatever.
Right.
People live in this place, but it's laced with guilt. It's laced with shame.
Yeah.
And it's laced with uncertainty about why am I still here? And so I love this question because it taps into getting people to be honest about what it is that's actually driving their interactions.
Yeah. Yeah, and we walk through that, especially in learning to feel the Word. It starts to really take you down this path to where you can begin to, answer that question. But anyway, the idea here is today we're just tossing out some of these questions, to tweak our thought process to kind of, it's like jump starting a car. If you ever, back in the old days, you had a stick shift. You could jump start that thing, just put it in gear and roll it downhill and let off the clutch and boom, it'll start. This is meant to do that because we do get in that groove of, oh, yeah, but that's ministry and so what really, if you understand that you're still here and there's a why to it because God didn't do it on accident, then you start to recognize that you are a ministry. This is your identity at the ground level. So the greatest form of obedience isn't a bunch of good works. It's to get hungry for him and step into that and let him uncover it. A lot of people have a good a good friend of ours and a guy we're working with, he said my word last year was surrender, and I think he was saying it in a way. I got something in my throat. He was saying it in a way like, I don't think I did it.
It was,
and I think the reason for that is, I don't care about the word or 10 words or whatever. I think the point is you got to have an idea that gets in your heart. So, but the reason is because people don't really understand what surrender means. We stop at these quick soundbite definitions. Walk by faith. I mean, we use Scripture, but we've got to get behind the door. We've got to dig in and go underneath it and really chew on that. And then God's Spirit will illuminate it and give you massive wisdom about it. But most people don't do that.
Mm.
So that's why we have these questions to kind of jumpstart that process. But anyway, he didn't know surrender. Did I do it? Did I not? I don't know.
Well, it's a fantastic catalyst, and that's the point, is to really catalyze people's faith. Why the show is called Wake Up Our Faith in Business.
Yeah, you got to carry it into business with you.
Absolutely. Matt Ham, Kevin Adams, we will be back after a short break. To Faith in Business. This is the show that is aimed at helping you live out your faith between Sundays, where you spend the majority of your time. Kevin Adams is rocking his pink Nalgene bottle. I remember we used to joke about that thing a while back, man.
I stole it. I stole it from my wife. She's got a bunch of water bottle.
Take it.
I just grabbed the quickest one.
All good, man.
Yeah, and it's pink or something. should be coral.
Yeah, it's coral. I'll give you that. It's all good, man.
Pink's good. I grew up in Jacksonville, Florida, man. Land of sunshine, surfing.
It's spring officially. That means the pink is coming, baby. You know me. I'm going to wear pink and white all the time. I mean, that's me. I wear that kind of stuff all the time.
Oh, you're going mint julep crowd, man. You need to be in Nashville watching the
Derby,
the Phillies, or whatever they are.
The Phillies. Oh man, guys, appreciate you tuning in here to Wake Up Our Faith in Business. Matt Ham, Kevin Adams, we're the co-founders of Uprint. We want to let you guys know about a community community here that we've partnered with. This is a challenge to rise up against sexual abuse in our community and register for the Journey to Heal Ministries first annual Hope Run. This is part of the Rise Up Race series, 3 races here in the Wilmington area. We love what these folks are doing at Journey to Heal.
Yeah.
We're going to have them on in a couple of weeks to share more about kind of the story and the passion underneath this. But they're having a 5K 1-mile run out here at Brunswick Forest. I'm pointing that way because it's that way out the window here. We got this new office overlooking the Cape Fear. It's beautiful. Got the battleship behind us. But at the Brunswick Forest there on April 27th, they're having a 5K. It starts at 8:30 a.m. You can get registered. Funds raised will help women healing from past sexual abuse here in this community. Registration starts as low as $20. Would encourage you guys and love you guys to get involved in this. You can go to journeytohealministries.org/Hope Run.
Yeah.
Go get plugged into this. We're pumped to be a part of it.
Yeah. We're what a privilege. Yeah, I can really just please support this effort. These are good friends. They're doing great work, and there's so much need for it.
Absolutely.
In this area. So yeah.
We're jazzed to be a part of it. So Kev, today, here on the show we have interviews. Sometimes we walk through some content and just a variety of things to help catalyze people's faith in their business.
Right.
And today we're tapping into some powerful questions. I threw one out in the first segment. Threw another out. Let's keep diving into this, man. Pick one out and let's roll with it. And let's keep using these as a way to kind of help people jump into it.
Yeah. Well, it's a battery, a reflective. It's something we use to kind of vet, but not necessarily to vet. It's kind of help get people in the right frame of mind before they go through the coaching process. Let's see here. Gosh, there's so many of them. And we didn't come in here knowing what we were going to pick. But here's one. Would you rather accomplish something on your own that amounts to less and give secret credit or accomplish something impossible that changes the world and assigns God all the credit? So, in other words, let me read that again. I kind of garbled it. Would you rather accomplish something on your own that amounts to less and give yourself secret credit, or something impossible that changes the world but assigns God all the credit? That's kind of it's almost a tongue twister. But it's something to get you to think. You have to work at the question a little bit. You have to think about it. People aren't used to that. It's just, you're amazing. No, you're amazing. No, you're amazing. And just
stop making me think.
Yeah. Yeah. Right.
What good is that going to do?
You got a brain, use it. The thing will wilt on the vine, man.
Yeah.
But so the point is to get you to think through the idea that, like Paul said, I count it all rubbish. Everything he had. And I so relate to that now, having had so much. But Paul changed the world, but his whole thing was about assigning all the credit to God. And, so that's a big question. But anyway, something to think about.
It touches me in this place. It's been, 8 months, 9 months, I guess, since I walked away from, the insurance industry. And I saw some recent posts from folks who are still in the industry, and they have their annual awards banquet, right?
Yeah.
And we've talked about this. I know you had, your experience with that when you were in sales. And I remember how much I valued winning these awards and how much you kind of held on to these. And it's like, man, all my hard work and
Right.
Here's a plaque to show for it. And not taking credit away from folks who work hard and, pour into their clients and all that kind of stuff. But the question here is deeper than that, because this is about accomplishing something impossible
Yeah.
that changes the world.
Yeah.
And God gets the credit for it.
Right.
And there doesn't need to be a plaque on the wall
Right.
that says, look what I did.
Yeah.
And so it's just it's a charge, man, to pierce the heart a little bit,
Yeah,
to
that's
say,
right.
what are you really about?
Yeah. It is. It really is. And it's, the value of your life in 1,000 years. It's taking a look at that. And we use 1,000 years because saying 100 is, it's just not enough. I mean, we need to have this sort of eternal, this thing that approaches eternal. But 1,000 years isn't really that long. I mean, the Vikings were around 1,000 years ago. So it's not, but so it's a nice middle ground to kind of tweak the mind a little bit. But what will have mattered about your life? It will only be that thing which gave God the credit and blessed the world. Now, God, the beautiful thing is God gets the credit and the glory, but we get the victory. We get the satisfaction of being used. And God will always raise you up if you sit at the low end of the table. So you don't have to worry about the credit part. Mother Teresa is a great example of that. She never set out to be a hero, but she is. So let him do that. Paul, we know Paul. Everybody knows Paul. Anybody's a Christian. So he didn't try to be a hero. He let it all go. And God made him a hero only because he was so willing, so humble, so surrendered.
Yeah. Kevin, how do you answer somebody, and I'm not being cynical about this,
Yeah.
I mean, for somebody who
All right.
genuinely comes to you and says, Kevin, can I really change the world? Like if they struggle with that belief. I'm not saying somebody who's like, well, you can't change. I'm not talking about the attitude there. I'm talking about somebody with a pure heart who says, man, I want to believe that, but I'm struggling to understand that I could really change the world. How would you go about answering that?
Well, if you've never looked at your family tree, do it, and you'll start to see how many layers and layers and layers. Now, if you pull one person out of that in your line, then you don't exist. This is, changing the world is, it's not something that, I mean, we tend to box that in. This is mantra. This is, getting into a cultural thing. In fact, it may be opposite today with millennials. Everybody can change the world, in that funny way.
Right.
But that just means fame.
Mm-hmm.
That's all that boils
That's not
down
what we're
to.
talking about.
Change the world, We are the world. I mean, come on.
It's a good song.
Yes. Sorry, it's a great song. But I think that you change the world one step at a time, and you do it by allowing God to work through you. Listen, here's the thing. You're already connected to the outcome. You don't have to stress over it. God already has an outcome planned. He made you to fill his purpose.
Yeah.
When you start putting it in that perspective, doing that does change the world. So, if you want to be YouTube famous, go for it. But if you want your life to have great value to heaven on earth through you to the lives of people that transform their lives,
Yes.
your life will do that. Everybody has that in them, and that is powerful. I sit in front of people one-on-one all week long, regularly, and their lives are changing, and I don't shy away from that. That's the good Lord working. But, I'm not famous, so who cares, right? So, but yes.
Will you sign this for me, Kevin? You get your autograph.
Yeah. So it's not about that, and that may come as a result. I mean, look, can you say that Denzel Washington changed the world? Maybe. He's definitely entertained people, but what changes the world is when he stands up and says, "Hey, man, I'm a believer, and this is first in my life."
Yeah.
That starts changing, because people are enamored with all that other stuff and talent, but what they want to hear is testimony and truth. When someone's brave enough to put that underneath it, that's what changes things. So yeah,
Yeah.
you can change the world. Absolutely.
I love it, man. I love it. That's just so refreshing. I just encourage folks to rewind that, play it over, wake up telling yourself that. As God doesn't make junk, he makes genius. He made you. You can change the world. We got a couple more segments here on Faith in Business. Matt Ham, Kevin Adams. Appreciate you tuning in. We'll be back for more right after this. Hello, and welcome back to Wake Up Our Faith in Business. Matt Ham, Kevin Adams, the co-founders of Uprint. Jumping on live to the show today. I want to let you guys know that we'd love to connect with you. If you have any questions or want to reach out to us, if you have any guest recommendations for the show, anybody that's doing amazing things out there, we love hearing these fantastic stories. You guys can connect with us. info@uprint.life, and want to encourage you guys to do so. Our corporate partners make this show possible. We want to recognize the Honeycutt Group. It's a family-owned insurance brokerage firm with more than 10 years of experience here in North Carolina. Chad and his team offer home, auto, life, any insurance needs that you have. Make sure you do give them a call, get a competitive quote on your insurance, 910-338-1773. Many thanks to Chad and his team. Kev, today we're helping folks catalyze their faith by asking some powerful questions. Mm-hmm. You know, and we kind of joked in the last segment that people are like, I don't want to think. Don't challenge me. You know, they get this real offended thing when it comes to like, you know, stepping into this.
Right.
But, you know, if Tony Robbins walked in the room, they'd go, oh, you know, or whatever.
Yeah.
So it shows.
Yeah, that freaks me out at age 52 and a half. It's really bizarre.
Yeah, and the reason is because we put value on positional power and fame and all this kind of stuff, which is what we talked about in the first segment.
Right.
Is whether we want to admit it or not, we value or define success by how many people know your name or whatever, which is just weird. You know, it's just so weird. But anyway, going down the path, what I wanted to step into in this segment is one of these questions here, because when we walk with people, when we talk with people, so many people are stuck or feel stuck, express being stuck in this job they don't love, you know, in this position in life where they're just kind of going through the routine, the motions or whatever.
Right.
And this question, man, is so good. It says, what stops people from fulfilling the desires of their heart as defined by what they were actually made to do? So what stops people from fulfilling the desires of their heart, what they were made to do? And the follow-up to this is, what are the biggest obstacles? Mm-hmm. And, you know, you wrote the questions, the answers. Where do you see, with most of the folks that you mentor, that you walk with, what do you see as the biggest challenge that people face with this?
God, there's so much, and it's so personal and so organic. I'm trying to circle the helicopter, but
this is Kevin not giving an answer.
Well, to put it in a maybe a nutshell of sorts, it's the obstacles are typically strongholds, which are underlying behavior patterns based on just things that we've experienced in our life, painful events and traumas and those kind of things. So there's so much to that, but it all comes down to we have these behavior patterns there in our subconscious, and so there's just so much to that. But uncovering those things is the first step to recognize. I'll give you, for instance, okay. I struggled with rejection, and it's also called an orphan spirit, feeling abandoned. Now, my parents loved me, and they still do. They're awesome people. I love them so much. But my dad's a pretty quiet guy, and I respect him and love him dearly. But just hearing certain words, they weren't there when I was a kid that I remember. And that was tough for me. So that led me down a path. Now, I'm not blaming my dad. I'm just saying this is part of life. My parents were young. They had to learn how to be parents. I'm the first. So anyway, rejection is a stronghold because it causes you to overreact or underreact. It causes you to act in a counterfeit way than what God has planned for you. God hasn't rejected me, but I had to start looking for my heavenly Father instead of my earthly father, and then he gave me both. So rejection is a stronghold. It is an obstacle. Now, that's a big answer. I got lots of big answers. But anyway, strongholds, I think, are the quickest, easiest thing that we can notice as obstacles. Once we're aware of them in our own life, then we have to learn how to navigate the strongholds of others.
Yeah.
It's a whole nother level of navigation. Once you get through both of those, then you can really start operating fully, in freedom. So it's powerful.
I remember one time talking with someone, and they were in some career, and when they were talking about what they love to do, is they just said, I would love to coach youth sports.
Yeah.
But I can't make any money doing that.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to do it.
It's a mantra. Yep.
And, so I think want to distinguish between the fact that the money is the excuse, but that's not the obstacle.
Right.
The obstacle's underneath that.
That's right.
It's
Yes.
a stronghold.
Yes.
That you have become convinced that
Yes.
you need to have money
Right.
to be approved
Mm-hmm.
by a dad or culture or
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to kind of lay that out a little bit,
Yeah.
because people say money or, I'm just afraid. Well, fear's not the stronghold.
Yeah.
There's something underneath that
Yeah.
that is the stronghold, that's the root, and the fear is the fruit
Yeah.
of that.
Yeah. It's like praying for the enemy to counterfeit bless you. I mean, it's saying yeah, but to Scripture. Well, I believe all that, but we that carries out into very specific ways in our life, and they become. Listen, Scripture says, whatever you ask for in prayer, believe that you have received it, and it shall be done for you. Now, that's either a lie or it's true. There's no black and white with this. I mean, there's no gray. It's God's word, so we know it's true. So we have to understand, how does this work? We can't just throw it out. We have to have that childlike trust that this is real. So when you start there and keep going back to that place over and over, it's like a chiropractic adjustment. Then you can begin to listen to the Spirit, and the heart will jump on board. Then the things that pass through your mind are no longer in control. So when you see something, you're not automatically going, "Oh, I can't," or "I wish," or "What if?" You can break that. But in the context of business, business is a great place, a great stage to live out who you are. And I think a lot of people do that so well. Listen, God's the provider. So, it's not money that's the issue. It's your heart. Got to get your heart connected to your spirit.
Yeah, I love that. And because too often I think people use money or fear or lack of resources. Those are just simply excuses. And just to reiterate what you just said, is it's not that, it's your heart.
That's right.
And that's why people, in large part, are not being transformed.
Right.
Just because they're focusing on the surface level excuses.
Yeah.
Well, how can I get more money? You know what I mean? Or how can I remove my fear?
It's how.
Yes.
Will. That's the difference between, people still do it even after we go through it for hours. I still see it in people, and you have to keep going and keep going. But finally, they break through, and it's just, man, it's amazing because they won't go back.
Yeah,
and it's so important. But that is it. The will is what we've got to trade and let go of. That's what surrenders. But the easy, quick definition of that is letting go of how.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to carry that. God gets credit. Let Him do it. He's all into the how. We see it through Scripture. We see it in life experience. We see the heroes in the world even, and the heroes of faith. It's all the same process. Let go of the how. Focus on the why. The why is tapped right into the desires of your heart. So you don't listen to that voice anymore. But it's a lot better and more meaty than just trying to break a bad habit.
Yeah.
You have to rebuild from the ground up with deep encouragement and learning and practice.
Yeah. And that's just what I want to hammer home here as we close out this segment, is just that people need to know that this is different than just removing my fear, or, you know what I mean? Like
Right.
the surface level excuses that most people give to why they're not pursuing the desires of their heart. This is actual freedom.
Yeah.
It's actual removing the root, breaking off the chain so that people can step into who they were
Right.
created to be.
Well, you can go to church all you want and go for it. That church is a good thing, but your pastor's not going to come spend hours and hours with you. You can pay Tony Robbins a lot of money, and he's never going to call you. We do both, and it's a whole lot less expensive, and it's the best investment you'll ever make if you want to be free.
Yeah. Guys, I want to encourage you, if you have any interest in this, just schedule like a discovery call. Let's just talk. Find out kind of where you are, what it is that you want to accomplish, and we'd be happy to talk with you guys. You can connect with us at youprint.life, youprint.life. Email us info@youprint.life. This is Matt Ham, Kevin Adams, Faith in Business. We're going to take a short break and back right after this. Hello and welcome back to Faith in Business. This is the show that helps you practically and actively live out your faith between Sundays, where you spend the majority of your time. As part of Wake Up Our Faith, Matt Ham and Kevin Adams here, co-founders of YouPrint, live at Wilmington's Big Talker, 106.7 FM WFBT. Many thanks to Nick Craig, the work he puts in here to produce the show for us. Grateful for that. Want to encourage you guys, if you have not already, check out the podcast. Kevin, I told you about this. We've got Wake Up Our Faith podcast, but the second hour now is going to be its own stream. It's going to be Faith in Business. So if you go Wake Up Our Faith or Faith in Business on iTunes, we actually got on Spotify and Google Play.
All right.
So, man, we're just rolling.
Yeah.
It's anywhere podcasts are found, right? So it's exciting. Appreciate you guys diving in and jumping on. The show is made possible by our corporate partners partners, and we want to recognize our good friend Chris Riley and the team at Fountain Financial Associates. They are all about giving clients and families a better life. They call it keeping promises, and they do that very well. Many thanks to Chris and the team at Fountain Financial Associates. Yeah. You can give them a call at 910-256-8882. So, Kev, today we have focused on some challenge questions. I love it. It's kind of like salt in an open wound, or like a loving, good. I'm trying to think of a better image than that.
Salt in an open wound.
That's
great, man. Jump in the ocean if you got a sore.
It cleans it out. It is good.
Yeah,
it heals it.
I mean, ocean is awesome, man.
Yeah.
It's just like 70% of your body's made out of ocean, I think. Salt water.
Well, it's like, my kids, when they get a cut or something like that, they fight you like the Dickens when you want to clean that thing.
Yeah.
If you don't clean it, it gets...
No, Daddy, no.
Screaming on the floor. You're like, fine, get gangrene.
And then you just do it.
Absolutely.
And then they're calmed down and they're like, thank you.
Hey, this is a true story. We did this year. We had to get the kids. We decided to give the kids a flu shot, okay? Uh-huh. And they hate it.
Oh, yeah.
Sarah James went first.
All right.
And she was a rock star.
Yeah.
And her older brothers are like, she didn't cry, so I can't cry. Right. And bless Grayson's heart, he was the last one. Uh-huh. And he was just being so tough. And you got to know Grayson, he's got fire in him.
Yeah.
The doctor stuck him, set him on the ground. He was so mad, he kicked the table and broke the leg.
Wow.
And we're like, we got to go. we're out of here.
Sorry about that.
So anyway, yeah. But sorry. And it was Dr. Sasser. Dr. Sasser did it.
All right.
So we eternally owe Dr. Sasser.
Yeah, he's such a gentle spirit.
Yeah, he is. He was kind.
Imagine.
He was kind. Sorry, rabbit trail there. But today we're asking some challenge questions to help catalyze and wake up people's faith. And they're good.
Challenge questions. Yeah. How do you weigh smoke? You can. We'll save that for another time. Challenging questions. The paradox. Well, these are just sort of a gentle, reflective process. Kind of open the door. I've had people answer them, go through and answer them all and send them back to me, and I've other people just kind of reflect on them for their own sort of just to get in the right mindset, and then we can talk about it later. So it's not like a test or anything. But one good one, well, there's a lot of good ones, but one of them I think is worth sharing. Number 25, it says, what value does God place on your life? Would you give it a monetary value? Or would you be willing to say you are priceless to him, knowing what he intends for you to accomplish? So it helps you see the value. What value does God place on your life? I don't know that a lot of people really go there.
Sure.
They go to church and say, thank you, Jesus, for saving me. 1, 2, 3 songs, a couple of prayers, good sermon, see ya. But how much better is it to ask that question? What value does God place on your life? You have to flip it. What did he pay for it? He paid everything. There's nothing higher. That means you're priceless. Yeah. Right? So, pretty powerful thought. But you can't just leave it there. You got to step in. You see how it starts to build upon itself. Planted a seed starts to germinate, turns into a plant, a tree, etc. on out.
Orchard.
There's fruit, and there's an orchard. And there's lots of orchards. It's infinite.
I think very few people spend time thinking about what their value is to God.
That's too bad.
And that's a shame.
It's not silly or funny. It's too bad is what it is. People need to think about it, don't you?
Oh, gosh, yeah. I mean, that's the point. It's just pause for a second in the midst of the craziness and really let this into your heart.
Yeah, that's right. Well, and it hurts my heart to have people belittle it. And not that you were, but, I remember people saying to me, that guy just sits around and reads the Bible all the time. Their family's all broken up now, by the way, and divorced and living in different parts of the country. The kids are a mess. This is 15 years ago. It's heartbreaking to me. It's not an I told you so. It's just, come on, guys. This is your life, and it flies by. It is flying by.
Yeah.
It's the time's now. So knowing your value to God is really, really important. So anyway, you didn't press the preach button, but there you go.
You can have it, man.
Hallelujah. Glory.
That's the red pen right there. You got the red pen. That's the red letters.
How to bring the red pen, the red pill, the red letters.
I love it. I love it. I think that there's just a really encouraging thing that. Oh, sorry, man.
Sorry.
I feel like it's a really encouraging piece just as we wrap up today. Man, it's just challenge folks to really sit with that for a little bit. That in itself is enough for me. It's just like really think about how valuable you are to God. And we wake up and we go through a world that doesn't seem to value us, and so we let that into our heart, and we begin living as if we don't matter, or that our only mattering is providing for our family.
Yeah.
And you've got a bunch of I had a picture a few years ago of a lion in captivity, and kind of this idea of a Christian man. Like lions are king of the jungle, right? They roar, they go after their food, but when you put them in captivity, initially, maybe the lion's like, I'm the main attraction. Give me some meat, But then after a while, if you've ever seen a lion in captivity, they just lay there.
Yeah.
And it's the saddest thing ever.
Yeah.
And so it's like we have this generation that's just sleeping lions.
Yeah.
And it's heartbreaking. Like
Yeah,
you
it
said.
is. Well, this is how the enemy works on believers. He's not going to unsave them. He just derails them, keeps us from being productive. So not only does he keep us from bringing other people to the Lord, but he keeps us from helping other people live out who they are. This is how the kingdom grows and expands.
Oh, yeah.
We have to do this. This is how God put it together. So it's really, really important. But I like the idea of, I know we're getting short on time, but I like the idea of, this question, what value does God place on your life? Go further with it. Would you give it a monetary value? And you know what a lot of people do? It's just what you have, what you've accumulated, or your income, or the value of your business, or whatever that is, and that's utterly ridiculous. We sit in front of some people who are multimillionaires, and are they truly more valuable than you are? That's ridiculous. That's not how God feels. But this isn't pie in the sky philosophical stuff. Yeah, well, it's all about how it hits the ground running and, tangible. It's not, because God lives in you, and he is eternal. So it always manifests itself tangibly. So when you're thinking about taking yourself, your faith into your business world, you have to remember you got to get in the right frame of mind at moment one, and you got to come back to this place that you are an individual. A vacancy in history has your name on it. Step into that, and you will be absolutely valuable, because you're expressing who God is, and it will change the world. So it doesn't matter how much you have or don't have. What matters is God's going to show you the way, lead you through it, and provide everything you need to carry that out if you step into it.
Yeah.
If you don't, again, said it earlier, the gravity of comfort is mediocrity. Who wants that?
So good. The word that's keep coming to my heart as we kind of wrap this up, man, is potential. God sees our potential.
Yeah.
We tend to focus on what's in front of us, but he sees us for what we can be, what he's created us to be.
Right.
He sees potential. So that's something challenging to think about as you think about your value to God, think about his potential for your life.
There is much greater value in a seed than in a big dead rock like a mountain. That's why you can move a mountain with the faith of a seed. Seed has life in it. Mountain does not.
Come on.
Yeah.
Come on.
Hallelujah.
If you say amen or hallelujah, that was a good time to say it. Man. What a good show today,
right.
Kev. Thanks so much, guys, for tuning in. Matt Ham and Kevin Adams. We want to invite you guys into this. The Portable Faith community is a way to get plugged in, to support our ministry, get challenging and encouraging content right to your device every day. WakeUpMyFaith.com, or dive on in, guys. uprint.life. We'll see you next week.